Namaste. How you feeling today, Sangha? Welcome to our Vision and Empowerment Circle, where today we're going to be talking about 5 desires of the heart. You know, the Germans, they have a word called Tekken Ruha, and it means that there is a impulse of the soul, a pull of the soul that's calling towards something. And so we're going to talk today about 5 qualities that the soul longs for, that the heart longs for, that are pulling within you. And perhaps you are already aware of them. You've already felt that pull. You've already felt that tug. You've already felt compelled to move in that direction. Well, today we're just going to honor that call, and we're going to begin to manifest some dreams, and we're going to begin to manifest some purposes, and we're going to begin to step into alignment with our access. So many of us, we get caught up in our day-to-day lives. We get caught up in feelings of lack. We get caught up and distracted in not being enough, not being capable of, not coming from the right background. And we think that somehow that those things are requirements for our purpose to be manifested, for our destiny to be revealed. We think that our dreams are dependent on someone else, on a co-signer. But the reality is that what has been imprinted upon your life will be manifested through you, not through someone else. It's not dependent on a supervisor. It's not dependent on a family member. It's not dependent on someone else. The dream was given to you. It is placed upon your heart, and it will be manifested through you, through your words, through your actions. And if you take the next step, if you take this step, and between this step and the next step, you will find the courage to take the next step. And the destiny is revealed, and the dream is clarified with each step forward. And so I want to encourage you wherever you are today to prepare yourself, to just take a moment to bring your dreams into focus, to bring some clarity to them. I'm going to prepare the tea to set our environment. If you have tea, go ahead, go put the water on, go get it going. You know, tea was oftentimes accompanied with our practice of mindfulness and meditation. Did you know that? That is how it was spread, was through these beautiful and elaborate presentations of tea ceremonies. The monks brought it, the nobilities within the communities brought it, and they were all gathered around. And I know some of you, today we're doing our modern day gathering. We're gathering on Clubhouse, we're gathering in social media spheres and social media spaces all over. We are streaming, and listen, whoever is meant to be here, whoever is called to this practice, then let them come, let them be. You know, our teaching says that when we are meditators, as meditators, we are fellow travelers, right? We're fellow travelers on this road, on this path of awakening our heart and illuminating our mind. And so I have a mixed tea here today. It is mixed between some oolong leaves, but it also has some herbal infusions wrapped in it. And so I'm going to prepare this tea for us for this moment. So let me pour this in here right now. Get that going. Have some hot water brewing. Pour that in. Okay. Nice. All right, everyone. So as we prepare our tea, let's take a moment to come into our flow, come into the presence of this space. I need you to find a rhythm. I need you to find a movement. I need you to find a flow. I need you to find this rhythm wherever you are. You may be going through some stress right now. You may be going through a setback right now, and I just need you to find a flow through You don't have to make it extra complicated. We're just finding a flow, a gentle movement, a mindful movement, an aware movement, holding this space, cleansing this space, preparing this space for what is to come. Hold this space. Slowing down. Maybe you had a busy weekend full of things to do, and maybe you just kind of sat down and vegged and you checked out. Well, now is the moment to check in, finding this flow, finding this movement, finding this rhythm. Come on, come on, come on. How's that feel? You feel relaxed? Come on. That's so beautiful. Coming into the presence of this moment. We're preparing this space. We're preparing this space as one of abundance. We're preparing this space for prosperity. We're preparing this space to release the dreams of our hearts, to step into our destiny. Holding this space. Namaste. Thank you for practicing that mindful movement with me. Thank you for finding a rhythm and finding a flow right here in the midst of it all. This is our first pour. And so, to set our teaching for today, we have some inspiration from the Dharma. It says that the mindful ones exert themselves. They are not attached to any home like swans. They abandon the lake. They leave home after home behind. And so I start there because it's so important to remember that this teaching and manifesting and purpose and destiny, it's not for the lazy, it's not for the negligent, it's not for the careless in life. That our hearts are strong and they are meant to be resilient and they are powerful. But misdirected and wrongly directed, we can allow ourselves and our hearts and our dreams and our purposes to just atrophy, to just wither, to just fade. And the Dharma reminds us that we are called as mindful individuals to exert ourselves, to endeavor with diligence, to have a sense of strength as we navigate through life, to fully show up and commit ourselves towards our work, towards our relationships, towards our dreams. So many of us, we kind of half go into it, right? We half go into our dreams. We half go into our destinies. We half go into believing that we are capable of. But we always have an exit door. We always have a plan B. We're always thinking about how can we abandon the mission. Well, I am here to tell you the mission is not complete and it can only be completed through you. You are the only vessel through which the dream that has been imprinted upon your heart can manifest into this world. I can't complete your vision. I can't finish your race. I cannot do what you have been tasked to do because you have a unique set of gifts and talents that uniquely equip you to manifest it in this world. Nobody else can do it but you. It must flow through you. They may do it similarly than you. You may think they do it better than you. But if you are called to sing, then your song must be sung through you, not through someone else. If you are called to build an enterprise, to create a startup, to launch a business, it must be built through you, not through someone else. There were plenty of people who started studios, but there was only Walt Disney. One Walt Disney. There are plenty of shoe companies, but there is only one Nike who started Nike. Right? There are so many people out there who think that, somebody else is better suited for this calling, for this mission. And maybe it's because there's some insecurity, maybe there's a sense of not having self-worth, maybe there's some issues with personal value. But I am here to tell you, as the Dharma says, as this teaching says, you are called to exert yourself, right? To not necessarily be attached, and the word it uses here is home, but it could be any particular way or mindset or habit or custom or tradition that you are locked into. One thing that the pandemic has shown us is that everything that we thought was sacrosanct could be uprooted. Universities who thought that education could not be completed online changed their tune in a matter of moments. Right? Businesses who said that our orthodoxy, our mission doesn't allow us to deviate in any way, they've had to learn, they've had to pivot, they've had to adjust in many ways. And so this word it says is do not be attached to any one home. It means that you have to be willing and able to pivot, right? To be able to shift, to be able to move in a new direction, because some of you right now are being called into a new direction. Some of you right now are being called into a new way. Some of you right now are being called and pulled towards something bigger, towards something greater, towards something fuller. And the question becomes, when it says, one, are you exerting yourself? One, you and only you know if you're really giving your 100%. You and only you know if you are being real and authentic to your heart, or if you are being careless or lazy or somehow negligent. And that's one of the biggest things that we encounter in our lives is our own negligence, the division that is contained within our own hearts. If you have a dream, we like to blame everyone else. We like to put it off on someone else. We like to really just think that it was someone else's fault, that the reason why we haven't manifested it. And in this vision circle, in this empowerment circle, I'm going to encourage you to really take ownership and accountability over your actions and say, one, have I truly exerted myself? Because the teaching says that mindful ones exert themselves. Mindful ones exert themselves. Mindful ones exert themselves. They are not lazy. They are not careless. They are not reckless. They are not negligent. They have a sense of self-control. They have a sense of self-restraint. They have a sense of endeavoring with diligence through the adversity, through the trials, through the setbacks, because I'm here to tell you, they will come, they will arise. That's a part of life. That is the fabric of life. But the question becomes, will you have the strength to look within and allow that strength within to be aligned and released into the world around? That is how we bring our dreams into existence. That is how we allow them to unfold in our lives. And it says, the mindful ones, they leave their homes, right? They pivot, and like swan, they abandon the lake, right? Sometimes in life, you are so clenched and hanging on to a specific way of manifesting, right? Of how the dream should unfold in your life that you don't even realize that you are called to leave that lake, right? You're called to leave that particular person. You're called to leave that particular company. You're called to leave that particular process and move forward. Advance into a new way. If one bank told you no, and the second bank told you no, and the third bank told you no, you have to go through the fourth and the fifth and the sixth, and then try other venture capitalists, try other avenues, right? There is not a place where we stop and we say that this is where I'm going to build my orthodoxy, right? This is where I'm going to become entrenched. No, we're called to remove those entrenchments like an elephant stuck from the mud. We're called to remove those barriers that we've erected around our hearts. And so that is where we begin today. That is where we set our stage today for our practice today, for our vision circle and our empowerment circle. These are the 5 desires of the heart. Five desires of the heart. The first desire of the heart that I want to discuss with you is this idea of identity. Identity. Who am I? Who am I? Right? Identity is wrapped around this sense of belonging, right? That is that deeper yearning. Where do I belong? Who am I? Where do I belong? Where do I fit in? What is my community? Right? And we've seen this all the time. If we look at artist profiles, when an artist leaves their home, they go in search of other artists. They go in search of community. They go in search of a way to hone their craft, right? Because they know that they are called to something, and they know what they are being called for, called to, can only be shaped and unfolded through someone who has been through the process. And for those of you who are going through that process similarly, whether you are a welder or a sculptor, or you are a mathematician or a scientist, you have to go find your community so that you can find a way to unfold in that environment. Right? If you are a sculptor, but you are in an accounting firm, it's hard for you to unfold in proper order because you're not in the right environment. And so when you think about your identity, you have to think about your environment, your location. Where are you? In the Renaissance, the great artisans went to the cities, to the capital centers where the commerce was taking place, where they could artwork could be supported. Similarly today, tech people, they're flocking to San Francisco, the Bay Area. They're flocking to Austin now. They're flocking to Singapore now. Why? Because those are the environments where they can flourish and build. Right? If you were in media and you go to New York or you go to LA, this is where those environments enable you to build, where those resources enable you to flourish. And if you think about the financial hubs of London and Shanghai and New York, this is where people flock to because that is where they can build. That is the environment. That is where you can go to discover yourself. And for some of us, it may not necessarily be a physical relocation. It may be a relocation of our mindset. There are so many avenues to connect online now, whether it's through social, through things like Clubhouse, where you can find individuals who are in those spaces, right? Mentors who are in those spaces so that you can connect with. And so it's so important that when we think about identity and we think about this idea of belonging, that we remember it's this idea of location, right? Because location is often destiny. And sometimes that means that you'll have to move. And sometimes that means that you'll have to break yourself out of your comfort zone. And location sometimes isn't necessarily all physical. Sometimes location can also be a mental sense that I am leaving behind old ways of thinking, right? Patterns of behavior that have become entrenched within me. I'm leaving those behind and I'm moving to a different location of thought, right? I'm moving into a different sphere, an energetic sphere of being, right? And that's something that we have to consider. The second thing, the second desire of the heart is expression, right? There is something within us that has to be released. It has to be released, right? For those of you who are into order, right? They're into having a specific set of rules, right? They're drawn to creating order from chaos, right? They see something that is array and that is a mess, and they are drawn to create order to it. We see someone like Marie Kondo, right? Marie Kondo, if you haven't seen her, she has this wonderful experience and show on Netflix that talks about how do you keep a tidied space? How do you keep a clean space? How do you properly organize? And she is an artist at making untidy spaces look so neat and so beautiful and so well kept. And it's absolutely extraordinary to see, right? And that's her art. That is the pull of her soul. That is how she is expressing herself and manifesting in this universe. And so yours calling may not necessarily be organizing, may not be creating order from chaos. For some of you, it may be in terms of being an artist, right? You may be a visual artist. You may be a muralist, and you are called to help create visual fields of reference for us and great paintings. And you're meant to go out into those great museums and studios and create works of arts that help us see and understand the human condition and through a unique lens. And so some of us are called to do that in that way. And if that is your calling, if that is what you are pulled towards, then you must do that as well. Right? You have to slow down long enough and be with your heart gently enough to pay attention fully enough to notice. And so the third desire of the heart is a desire for shared experience. Shared experience. Not only are we meant to go about this alone, right? We are meant to find community. We are meant to be a part of something bigger, right? Bigger than oneself. The Dharma often talks about this idea of no self, and it doesn't mean that you don't exist or you shouldn't exist, but it's that the lens you view yourself is often too narrow. It's much too small. It's much, much too small. And so I want to encourage you, wherever you are, to begin to think about your shared experiences in life. That is a desire of your heart. To have that shared experience, to have that connection, to have that relational aspect. So many of us neglect that, but let me tell you this, a hallmark of mindfulness is relationship, right? A relational element is this quality of karma, one of reciprocity, that what you are putting out there also comes back to you, right? That you can influence what is around and what is around can influence you. The world within you influences the world around you. The world around you influences the world within you. There is a feedback loop. There is a reciprocity there. There is an established order there. And many of us are negligent to that. And we have to have a greater sense of awareness of it. That shared experience is vital. It is a desire of the heart that we must find a way to embrace. And so the next desire of the heart is alignment. Alignment is the next desire of the heart. And why does desire matter? Why is desire important? Well, it's important for this. Because because alignment is about depth. Our hearts crave a depth of being, an origin, an essence, right? It is a very ground of being. It is a center in a centerless place, right? It's as Rumi says, that you are not a drop in the ocean, you are the entire ocean within a single drop. That at this very center of a centerless space, of a centerless time, that you can be at the very heart of it, that you can be the very source of manifestation of it, that it flows from you and flows through you. And that's a part of it. And so if you are aligned to your access, right, if you are allowing the intention to emerge through you to be that source, that reservoir where things are renewed and created through, if you are in alignment, you're able to establish this expansive field, this creative field for you to flourish in life. And so it's so vital that you find an alignment and that you find a sense of depth. This is what we do. This is our practice. And so the fifth desire of the heart, and you already know it, it already resonates as true within your life, I'm almost certain, is a desire of freedom, a desire of liberation. right? A desire that you can choose, right? And that is the deeper invitation of our practice, is one, to recognize our nobility, to recognize our sovereign choice, that you have the ability to decide to choose another way. Our practice of mindfulness creates enough space so that you can see, I can choose another way. I don't have to go along with the flow, that I can redirect the river, that I can change course, that I can get off the train, that I can navigate in a new way. You know, a ray in geometry moves in a specific direction. It moves in a specific way. And so if you want to have momentum in life, you have to move in a specific way. Some of us, we have an erratic energy. We have an unorganized energy where we are just moving all over the place. We're moving in every which direction. We're trying to search, and we're grasping, and we're clinging, and we're trying to hold on to. Well, the Dharma and mindfulness is teaching us that we have to move in a specific direction if we want to advance. You can't go moving in every which way if you are trying to build something, if you are trying to grow something. You have to move in a specific way, in an organized way, in a focused way, in a determined way, in a diligent way, in a way that has some restraint and self-control. And if we don't remember that, if we don't allow ourselves to embody that, then we never move in a way where we advance. We stay stuck. And as the Dharma says, we must, one, exert ourselves, right? We read that earlier. You must exert yourself in this practice, right? You have to give it your all. That's what we are called to do. We're not just called to give it just a little bit. We're called to give our best, our mindful best, our noble best, for a noble heart. And so those are the 5 desires of the heart for this vision circle and for this empowerment talk. I want to encourage you, wherever you are, to take a moment and allow the vision and the purpose and the dream that you have for your life to come into focus. For some of you, that may not be possible. You may feel like it's hazy, that it's cloudy, that you don't quite know, and that's okay. You simply hold a space for that dream, for that purpose, for that destiny to emerge. You hold the space that it is there, and that one day you may see it and become acquainted with it. And so whether you're holding the vision right now or you're holding a space for the vision, whether you're holding the purpose right now or you're holding the space for the purpose, whether you're holding the dream right now or whether you're holding the space for the dream right now, let's just take a moment to be in the presence of that dream, of that purpose, of that destiny, of that space. Closing your eyes and bearing witness to what has been imprinted upon your heart. What is your life called to do? What is being manifested through you? This is the invitation of our practice. This is the vision circle. That the desires of your heart be released, that the intentions upon your life be fulfilled, that the purpose that is within you be revealed. And with this breath, inhale, we identify and receive our purpose. And with this release, we take a step towards the dreams of our hearts, the destiny of our lives, the hopes and the aspirations that have been placed within. Right, everyone. I hope you felt motivated. Let me tell you, well practiced. What a privilege it was to be able to hold this space with you during this vision circle and empowerment talk. I hope you are going to leave here motivated. I hope you are going to go here thinking about the 5 desires of your heart, your identity. Who are you? Where do you belong? Where are you being called to? Your expression, what is being released through you, what is your creative pursuit, what is the skill, what is the vocation, what is the métier, your shared experience, what are your relationships, who are you connecting with, who are you vibing with, your community. Next, your alignment. Where is your depth? Where are you rooted? How are you grounded? How do you recover? How do you restore? And the 5th desire of the heart, freedom. How are you liberating yourself? How are you choosing another way so that you're not just staying stuck in a cycle, in a habit? Some of us, we are on this cycle where we're on this 20-year, 30-year, 40-year repeat playlist loop. We get up, we grind, we go home, we get up, we grind, we go home. And 20, 30, 40 years later, we never even consider what we are grinding for, not even paying attention that we're not moving in a specific direction, that we're not headed in a specific way, that we're not maintaining focus on a vision, on a dream, that we're not reorienting ourselves, that we're not pivoting when we're supposed to. You have to have that sense of a freedom of heart, a boundless heart, to be able to choose another way, to be able to step off the train, to be able to choose a way where you are aligned to your access. And so that's the beauty of our practice. And I'm so glad to be able to hold this space with you. Listen, we're getting ready to wrap up. Let's say our affirmation of nobility, just so that we remember our value and our worth. Say it with me. I have value and I have worth because I am of noble birth. And with this breath, I will awaken to all that's possible within my life. I will lead and I will achieve. I will lead and I will achieve. Nicely done, Sangha. If you said that simple affirmation, you are well on your way towards your ennoblement, towards an awakened heart, towards an illuminated mind, towards this greater sense of a boundless life. Listen, put one finger up if you hold a space for love, if you are about love, if you rep love, if you stand for love. Put 2 fingers up for peace. If you think peace is important within your community, within your environment, within your home, within your workspace. Now put 3 fingers up for community. That means you, that means me, that means we, all of us. Now bring it all in to awaken your heart. And may your mind be free. Many deep bows of gratitude to you all for your practice here today. May you lead and achieve in life. Peace in, love out. I'll catch you back here next time. Take care, Sangha.